everyone, welcome back to Dila's Kitchen. So you can make hot cross buns throughout the year, but Easter time, the cross is important because it represents the cross of Jesus Christ. Today I'll be making a spicy bun with a cross on top, and I'll be ending it off with a glaze, so let's get to it. I've got 3.5 cups of flour here. I'll be adding the rest of the flour once I start kneading. So I'm putting this aside, so it's actually 4 cups of flour. I have 1 teaspoon of salt, I have a teaspoon of mixed spice, and I have a teaspoon of cinnamon. You can add a bit more if you want to, and just like a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, but the nutmeg is optional. So I'm adding that to it. And I'm going to give this a whisk. I'm adding 1 packet of yeast, 7 grams. I am also adding a tablespoon of orange zest. And I'm giving that a mix. I've got a 1/4 cup of sugar. I've got 6 tablespoons of melted butter. And 2 eggs. I've got 1.5 cups of lukewarm milk, and I'm adding this, and I'll be mixing. Adding the rest of the milk. Adding more flour to the dough, and I'm going in with my clean hands now. So I just want to show you how sticky the dough is. So with this dough, the more stickier the dough, the softer your bun will be, and it will rise easier. If you add a lot of flour, the harder your bun will be, and it's not going to rise. So I'm going to add just a little bit of oil, and I'm not going to fiddle a lot with this dough. See, it's still sticky. I'm transferring the dough to a well-oiled bowl, and I'm going to wrap it with some cling wrap. So this is the traditional hot cross bun that I'm making. You can decide whether you want to add your raisins after the first rise or before the first rise. I'm going to let it rise, and then I'm going to add it. So I'll show you just now what I'm going to do. I've covered my dough. I'm going to give it 30 to 45 minutes to rise. So I made this batch earlier on, and I'm going to show you now what I'm going to do. This is the first rise. I am going to remove it and make sure my surface is floured surface. I have a cup of raisins and I have a cup of chocolate chips, so you can decide which one you're gonna. I'm gonna start with the chocolate chips. So this is the exact same recipe that I've used, and I'm just gonna work the chocolate chips through it. Adding more chocolate chips, and I am just working it through until the full cup is added. I'm adding the rest of it. So after you roll it into a log, you just start cutting them. Okay, I'll roll it out into balls. I've done most of them. And then I just shape it. I'm packing it into my pan. So this was 12, and like I said, I started with the chocolate. So I'm doing chocolate and raisins, and I hope the video is not going to be too long. If it pops out, just pop it back, whether it's the raisins or the chocolates, doesn't matter. I've got 12 here, 12 buns. I'm going to cover it up and wait for till it's double in size. Okay, so for the topping, for the cross, I've got 4 tablespoons of flour here. I've got a tablespoon of oil. The oil is optional. I put oil in mine, you don't have to. There's so many different recipes you can use. And then you just add water until the consistency is right. So this is already 4 tablespoons of water that I'm mixing. So this is like the goo that the kids make, water and flour, and this is the consistency of it. So you mix the water until it's this consistency. As you can see, my buns is double in size. So now we're going to do the cross. You can use a cheap bag. This is bags that I buy at the China Mall. You can just cut the tip off, very small tip. I'm using a very small nozzle, and I'm adding my dough to it. I normally use a different nozzle, which I can't find. I'll find it, I suppose, when I'm done, but let's try this one. This is all you do. This is going into a preheated oven, 180 degrees Celsius, and I'm going to bake it for anything from 15 to 25 minutes, depending on your oven. Okay, so before you do your crosses, don't forget to egg wash your buns before it goes into the oven. I didn't egg wash the first batch. Okay, so I just removed my buns from the oven, and I'm just topping it with the glaze. I have the glazes equal amounts of water and sugar. I just added some cardamom and nacho peel. I'm going to wait for it just to cool down before I remove it from the pan. So my hot cross buns are ready. I have on this side the chocolate ones, which is obviously too sweet for me, but it was a request from my son. And this is the traditional raisins, just raisins and orange zest. You can add cranberries, you can add raisins, you can add fruit mix, you can even add an apple, grate an apple and add an apple. But this is the traditional hot cross bun, the one we were raised with. And it's all about traditions, and every now and then we'll break the traditions. I'm going to cut through one of the hot cross buns. I suppose it is. There you go. This is the raisin one. I love raisins. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. The link and the recipe will be in the description. Thank you for watching, and God bless.